All right, so today we're going to dive into the whole idea of curiosity, but with a bit of a twist. Our guide is a metaphorical dragon named Zoran. And through his wisdom, we're going to see how asking the right questions isn't really about finding answers. It's about building a mind that thinks for itself.
Metaphors bites. I love that. That's Zoran's first challenge to us. See, he's not just some character. He's a whole new way of looking at things. He's basically daring us to get past the easy explanations and sink our teeth into the really juicy hidden truths. And you can only find those by exploring what you don't know. This one quote, it sets the tone for everything we're about to cover.
Okay, so first up, this is the big idea, the central metaphor for this whole explainer. Questions are keys. Now this is such a cool way to think about it, right? Asking a question isn't just a passive thing you do. Zoran says it's an act of creation. Every single time you ask why or how, you are literally forging a key that opens a door between the world you think you know and the massive, wild world of the unknown.
So let's get into our next section. What exactly fuels this quest for knowledge? Well, Zoran calls curiosity the dragon's favorite spice. It's that key ingredient that turns learning from a chore into this thrilling adventure. It's all about that hunger to find out more.
And check this out. This slide just nails the difference. Over on the left, you've got the passive stuff. You know, just seeing a tree, just memorizing some facts for a test. But on the right, that's active curiosity. That's asking why the tree does what it does. It's pursuing your own questions. It's the difference between flying on someone else's wings and building your very own massive library of understanding.
So what is it that creates this hunger? Zoran calls it the knowledge gap. Just imagine a giant treasure chest, and inside there's this one tantalizingly empty spot. It's that feeling, almost an ache, of knowing there's something you don't know, but you feel like you have to find it. That gap, that's not a weakness. It's the engine that drives all motivation.
And this is where it all starts. To really embrace that knowledge gap, you have to be able to say 3 of the most powerful words in learning. I don't know. And that's not giving up. According to Zoran, that's a courageous first strike. It's the exact moment you stop just taking in information and decide to launch your own investigation.
Which brings us right to our third section, where we get a little more practical. How do we actually use these question keys to unlock brand new ways of seeing the world?
Now, this process actually has a fancy name, inquiry-based learning. But forget the jargon. It's really just a hands-on cycle. You analyze something, you come up with your own theory, you test it out, you see what happens, and, this is the most important part, you embrace the fact that you're going to make mistakes along the way. That's how you build real intellectual toughness. That's how you forge an independent mind.
And the payoff for doing this? It's huge, because when you're the one asking the questions, you suddenly take ownership of your own education. You're not just a passenger anymore, following a flight path someone else laid out. Nope, you're the pilot now, charting your own incredible journey through the world of knowledge. And that gives you a deep, powerful sense of autonomy.
All right, get ready. We've arrived at the climax of our journey, the Dragon Trial. This is where we go beyond simple facts and start wrestling with questions that are designed to stretch your mind. Now, the secret to this trial is understanding that the best questions, well, they often don't have a neat and tidy answer at all. Their real purpose isn't to be solved, it's to spark deep, meaningful reflection. The journey you take, just thinking about them, that's the real treasure.
So let's try the first one. It plays with our whole sense of time and reality. Are people in a time zone ahead of us, already living in the future? It sounds simple, but the more you chew on it, the more your assumptions start to unravel.
Okay, here's the second one. This one dives right into consciousness and communication. Just imagine it. You could have a real conversation with your pet. Do you think that would ultimately make you happier? Or would it lead to a kind of profound, maybe even uncomfortable, confusion?
Our third question gets a little philosophical, a little closer to home. Think about the people in your life. What is the actual difference between a true, deep friendship and just being convenient neighbors? Where do you draw that line?
And now for a big one, a really big one. Is our fear of death just a hardwired natural instinct for survival, or is it something we actually learn from the world around us, a story our culture tells us? Think about that one, because Zoran is going to give us his take in just a moment.
And for the final question of the trial, it's a classic chicken and egg problem about making a difference. If one person can change the world, where does that change really begin? Does it start in their mind with the revolutionary idea, or out in the world with that first revolutionary action?
Okay, as promised, here's Zoran's answer to that question about the fear of death. You know, when facts just can't get you there, sometimes poetry gets closer to the truth. He says, fear starts out as this tiny, natural instinct to survive, like a little flicker. But then our culture comes along and starts stacking the kindling higher, turning that little flicker into a whole belief system.
And here's the beautiful conclusion to his thought. The answer isn't a simple either-or. The answer is both. It's an instinct born deep inside of us, at our core. But it's also taught and reinforced by every loss, every ending, every limitation we ever experience, by every single shutting door.
So where does all of this lead us? In our final section, we're going to bring it all together and look at the ultimate reward for adopting this kind of curious, dragon-like mindset.
The benefits of thinking this way are just immense. You gain real autonomy, real confidence from navigating your own course. You build resilience because you learn that mistakes aren't failures, they're just part of the climb. You even learn to collaborate because you realize pretty quick that no one can unlock every door alone. And maybe most important of all, you develop a genuine, lifelong passion for the hunt itself.
And I absolutely love this summary table. It's like a translator for all these big ideas. It takes a complicated academic concept like inquiry-based learning and turns it into Zoran's simple lesson, you are the captain of your own flight path. Information gap theory becomes the empty space in the treasure chest. And having a growth mindset, well, that's like a dragon shedding an old scale. It's just a fantastic way to remember the core ideas we've talked about.
And that's where we leave it, with one last question. For you. See, a full treasure hoard just means the hunt is over, the adventure is done. The real prize is keeping that fire of curiosity burning. So, what door will you unlock next?